In the name of Allah, most graceful, under the patronage of His Excellency Dr. Bishr Khassauna, would like to open the second day of the first virtual conference under the title of Encouraging Investment in the Second Centennial. This is the second day of our conference. Today, we will have many sessions focusing on unlocking the potentials in economic developmental zones. We will also talk about launching a hub for Jordan as a regional and international markets. We'll also talk about the role of Jordanians' expertise in promoting and attracting investments. We would like to thank AFA Group, our strategic partner for the Jordan Investment Commission. We'll start with the first session and talk about unlocking potentials in economic developmental zones. The facilitator will be Mr. Khalid Momani, Director of Urban Planning Development Free Zones. Go ahead, Dr. Khalid. Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to start our first session in this beautiful morning. We have a group of speakers with us today, and honestly, this session has a very important topic to talk about, which is unlocking the potentials in economic developmental zones. Development zones and industrial cities are among the main tools for creating and stimulating environment for investment by providing appropriate and advanced infrastructure and incentives for various investment sectors that contribute for accelerating the recovery and economic diversification and promoting sustainable growth. Jordan is characterized by the spread of 17 developmental zones and industrial cities in the various governorates of the kingdom, supervised by development companies responsible for establishment and development of its infrastructure, in addition to providing all the facilities needed to the investor. The session will focus on the objectives of establishing development zones and the distributing economic development gains, creating job opportunities in different governorates, creating competitive advantage for each investment sector, in addition to providing integrated system of services to investors that support the growth and development of investments. The session will discuss advantages enjoyed in these areas and investment opportunities that provide in the sector that attract them. I would like to welcome the excellencies, the speakers with us in this session. His Excellency Dr. Talib Abidat, Vice President of the... He was also Minister of Jamiat University of... And Mr. Salim Khazale, Chairman of the Board of Directors of King Hussein bin Talal Development Zone in Mafraq, His Excellency Dr. Lois Whale, Chairman of Board of Directors of Jordan Industrial Estate City, I would like to welcome you all. Good morning and welcome. Sorry for the interruption. The sound is not very clear. There's an interruption in the sound. I would like to start our discussion. And as you know, Jordan has gone a long way in establishing the special developmental zones under the patronage of His Majesty King Abdullah bin Hussein. And the aim is to for developing the different governorates, the special developmental zone and special economic or industrial developmental zones. The first question is, His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Talib Abaidat, how can those developmental zones encourage the growth of economy and competitiveness if in the governorates? Thank you, Dr. Khalid. Good morning to you, and good morning to the Excellencies. I'm sorry for the interruption. The sound is not clear. We aim at providing incentives in these developmental zones in order to enhance the job opportunities and economic growth in different governorates, attract foreign and local investments, and this will have a positive impact on the people of the governorates, creating job opportunities, building their capacities and skills in various sectors, technology, industry, and other. This His Majesty's vision headed for developing and creating strategic long-term plans and for the economic growth to help governorates and not only in Amman. Having these developmental zones, I think this your voice is not clear. I'm not sure if it's something of the internet or if you can come closer to the mic. Having those developmental zones in the different governorates and outside of the capital of Amman helps governorates for economic growth, create job opportunities for people living in the governorates, creating a competitive environment that can attract local and foreign investments. And this will have a positive impact on. Sorry for interrupting you. I want everyone to, if you can, mute your mics so that we don't have an echo in the background. And as you said, having those developmental zones inside the governorates and outside the capital of Amman will help economic growth. I'm sorry, the sound keeps interrupting. The voice is not clear at all. صباح الخير زوي، هل يمكن أن تضعي الكمبيوتر على الميوت رجاء؟ أنا كنت لم يكن الصوت موجود عندي أصلا. شكرا. His Majesty's vision الصوت مش واضح إطلاقا. especially that we have lots of universities and excellent programs and having hospitals like King Abdullah Hospital. This will lead to provide the best services in the health sector. So these developmental zones have a great role in providing services hand in hand with the other uh, uh, sectors, also building capacity and building the skills of people working on the industrial zones. For example, the Hassan industrial zone that is very close to urban developmental zones, only 5 minutes away. Also, we work with international telecommunication companies as well as scientific research companies to help our youth get trained. These are only examples of His Majesty's vision of the importance of these developmental zones. At the same time, having a competitive advantage and create job opportunities and having a competitive advantage and not only have those zones in the capital or in the big cities. I'm sorry for the interruption. The voice is not clear. Thank you, Your Excellency. I agree with you on the fact that those zones would help the economic growth in different governors. Going to the Mr. Khaled Khazale for the next question. He used to be the former Ministry of Industry and Trade, and he's the head chairman of the board of directors of King Hussein bin Talal Developmental Zone in Al Mafraq, which has many competitive advantages. Welcome. Would like to welcome you, Mr. Salim. Good morning. We're very honored to have you here today with other experts and speakers. My question for you is, what are the most recent advantages and developments in the development zone in Mafraq, and what are the opportunities? Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank Dr. Muhammad Abidat for his for clarifying the idea and the vision behind the developmental zones, for attracting foreign investments and local investments. Talking about King Hussein bin Talal Developmental Zone in Mafraq, it has launched a developmental zone with a value of 100 million JD value, as well as a very developed and infrastructure. The most important pillars of infrastructure, we have the roads, around 55 kilometers, the telecommunications, and the electricity. More than 555 kilometers, as well as the water facilities. That covers the whole governorate. We have also the solar system facility. as well as the water covering around 40, as well as digging wells in the governorate. King Hussein bin Talal Developmental Zone in Mufraq provides high opportunities, job opportunities, as well as attracting investment opportunities from outside the kingdom and from other governorates. Has a strategic geographical location that have access to many markets around, as well as many free trade agreements with the US and many Arab countries and the EU, as well as many advantages under the law of investment that enables it to have a very important role in these developmental zones. We have also the service of the first window to facilitate and accelerate the steps for the investors. Provide facilitations and services, exemptions on taxes. The investments are in the industrial sector, small and medium industries, as well as the food industry, health products, electronics, plastic products. The strategic location of the development zone in Mafraq is very important because it is linked with many cities and many markets, and we work on very important projects. Yes, we wanted to talk about the projects that you're going to start very soon. We are talking about a whole developmental zone that has an infrastructure that is ready to attract any investment, and you have many facilitations and exemptions for investors, in addition to free trade agreements. Sorry, the sound keep interrupting. Cannot hear him very well. If you allow me, I'm going to ask a question to Ms. Zoe Harris. صباح الخير, Zoe. هل تستطيعين سماعي؟ هل يمكن أن تشغلي الميكروفون لديك؟ Could you unmute yourself, please? هل تستطيعين سماعي؟ أعتذر. مرحبا، صباح الخير. كنت أبحث عن الزر. صباح الخير، أنا سعيدة لرؤيتكم. نحن سعيدون لوجودك معنا اليوم. الذين لا يعرفوا السيدة زويل هي كبيرة مستشاري الاستثمار الأجنبي المباشر والمناطق الاقتصادية. من خبرتك سيدة زوي، أريد أن أسألك حول ما يتعلق بالمناطق الاقتصادية الخاصة. كيف يمكن لهذه المناطق أن تحسن النمو الاقتصادي والتنوع الاقتصادي وتجعلها منافسة أكثر وذات منع وقوة أكبر؟ تفضلي. شكرا جزيلا على هذا السؤال. المناطق الاقتصادية في الأردن تقدم التحفيزات للمستثمرين، كما أنها جزء من اتفاقات الاقتصاد أو التجارة الحرة مع الولايات المتحدة وغيرها والاتحاد الأوروبي، إضافة إلى القوانين التي تساعد الشركات على أن تعمل وأن تصدر المنتجات إلى الدول الأوروبية، الاتحاد الأوروبي والولايات المتحدة بسهولة. إذا لهذه هنالك الشركات الموجودة داخل المناطق التنموية لها ميزات اقتصادية كبيرة في الأردن وفي المنطقة. بالتالي مناطق التنموية لها موقع جاذب للاستثمار، خاصة بالنسبة للتحفيزات التي تقدمها وقواعد المنشأ. هذه المناطق أيضا تقدم ميزات متعلقة بالبنية التحتية للشركات الموجودة داخل هذه المناطق، وهي تعد من الأولويات فيما يتعلق بتطوير البنية التحتية لديها، وهذا يساعد على جذب الاستثمارات الأجنبية المباشرة، كما أنها تقدم تحفيزات للشركات الصغيرة والمتوسطة، وهذا يعزز من النمو الاقتصادي في الأردن، لأنه كلما كان هنالك دعم للمؤسسات الصغيرة والمتوسطة كلما يكون هنالك جذب للاستثمارات الأجنبية المباشرة بصورة أكبر. شكرا سيدة زوي. Now I'm going to talk to Mr. Luay Sahwel, Chairman of the Board of Directors for Jordan Industrial Estates Company. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. The industrial zone we have all around the kingdom, and it's one of the most important companies in Jordan for the industrial states. We wanted you to tell us more about the role of the industrial estates as developmental zones in Jordan and the role of attracting investments. Thank you. Good morning. The voice is not very clear. It's very echoed. Can you please come closer to the mic? It's a shareholding a company that started from 40 years now, working with the public and private sector. The Jordan Industrial Estates Company has more than 10 industrial zones. 6 of them are currently working. 3 of them are under working. We have a Jarash industrial zone currently. We have partnerships with the private sector, and we provide the infrastructure for foreign investors, either infrastructures or ready-made buildings. We provide different services of water, electricity, infrastructure, so on. In addition to the custom services, we have a competitive advantage for the industrial investment in Jordan, as Zoe mentioned. Especially for the advantage that Jordan has for its special geographical location. and the agreements that we have with the US, Canada, and other countries. We have a great advantage and location. We have about 3 billion JD value of investments, foreign investments, more than 60,000 individuals working in those industrial zones. The role of industrial zones is not only providing infrastructure, but promoting investment in those industrial and developmental zones. Every industrial zone or city now has its own advantage. And we are always available for answering questions and meeting with investors. Our main goal is that Jordan would be the first priority and provide advantages and incentives to foreign investors, provide facilitations to facilitate investing in those industrial and developmental zones. Thank you, Your Excellency. Your experience in the industrial estate company is an excellent experience, an excellent example. As you said, you have a long experience and different expertise. And as you said, focusing on the strategic location of the kingdom is very important. And the facilitation and incentives provided in the business zones to the investors. Going back to His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Ubaidat, my question to you: what are the competitive advantages and investment opportunities that Irbid zone provide, especially that there has been a detailed study for feasibility studies, and recently you have finished the holistic plan for the developmental zones based on the idea of smart city, usage of lands, and having an advantage location of the development zones. A very good question, thank you. As you know, we provide many incentives to foreign investors. We're talking about tax exemptions, in addition to other incentives, exemptions of income tax, and exemptions on licensing fees. This is only part of the incentives and advantages that we provide to attract investments and create a suitable atmosphere for investment. The companies registered in our developmental zones have exemptions under the law of investment. We give them special prices for real estate and different systems for paying. flexible systems for payment, especially in urban development and industrial zone. I'm sorry, the sound is interrupted. What's special in the in urban developmental zone is that we have a variety of investments and industrial sectors, and we have very competitive prices, as well as the BOT system provided, which is very competitive, in addition to the public-private partnership that Ms. Harris mentioned. Having this partnership between the public sector and private sector creates an incentive and creates job opportunities. We cannot really hear you well. Going to the question to Mr. Salim Khazala until you can check the connection or the sound problem. Mr. Salim, Mr. Salim, Mafraq Developmental Zone in the King Hussein bin Talal Development Zone, it has a very strategic location. It is in between and close to the borders with Syria, with Iraq, with Lebanon. Would like to hear you. What do you think this strategic location in Mafraq zone? What is the importance of this very important location, and what can we do to make this happen? The strategic location of King Hussein bin Talal developmental zone is a connection between Mafraq and other countries, and within the future plan that we have and that the government is working on. It is with connection with Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and countries around the world. Rehabilitating the infrastructure as well as the railway and the ports and the transportation, as well as the storing, uh, uh, the storing facilities for pharmaceuticals and other products, as well as a free trade zone. We have been able to attract many industrial investments. We worked with the Iraqi market, the Gulf market, because it's very close to the borders and it's very easy to export to. When it comes to the land port, this port is very important in encouraging the industrial zone in Mafraq and in Jordan in general. We are now on a priority for the regional and international exporting map. It will be easy to export and import for products coming from Arab countries around the kingdom, enhancing the logistics services and the storage facilities, in creating job opportunities, as well as projects that will help on the sustainable development growth, as well as the railway project that's coming very soon, that will help in the exporting and importing process between the governorate and other countries around, as well as working with the Gulf cities. The holistic map in our industrial zone works with the logistic services as a priority. The studies that have been done by international companies on the importance of the developmental zone strategic location. The new project will help on providing job opportunities for Jordanian youth. It's expected to employ around 1,000 job opportunities to people in Mafraq, as well as creating connections on industrial zone and trade zone between our governorate and countries around the world. Our strategic location will put the country on a very important location on industry and trade, exporting, importing, enhancing the roads of transportation and the railway that will be created very soon under the governmental plans. This will be a connection point between the Mediterranean and Gulf countries, as well as Europe, Turkey, Iraq, and Syria, which will enhance the economic growth in general. Working hand in hand, coordination, partnership between public and private sector, as well as the Prime Ministry plan of creating the railway and the land port, which will empower our work. And after the holistic study of this project, this will help us to have a strong connection point for exporting and importing products. And there will be feasibility studies that will be done very soon to have the final saying on this project. And I believe it's a very excellent opportunity for creating this port. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you for talking about the coming projects. I think this port is one of the most important opportunities that will provide also a competitive advantage for the developmental zone, and it's a regional point for e-commerce, and will also develop very well, especially for the location of the kingdom, that help it to be a regional spot and a regional hub for the e-commerce opportunities. Allow me to go to Ms. Zoe. أتساءل سيدة زوي، لديك خبرة طويلة فيما يتعلق باستغلال الميزة التنافسية في المناطق الاقتصادية والتنموية الخاصة. كيف يمكن أن نستغل الميزة التنافسية في المناطق التنموية لتحقيق الهدف من إنشائها؟ تفضلي. شكرا جزيلا على هذا السؤال المهم. هذا السؤال مهم للغاية، لأنه في النهاية هذه المناطق تم تطويرها وإنشائها لتكون جاذبة وتحقق ميزة تنافسية وجذب للاستثمارات. فهناك مسؤولية كبيرة على الحكومة وعلى الأشخاص الذين يقومون بتطوير هذه المناطق. وحتى ننجح في استغلال هذه المناطق يجب أن يكون هناك وضوح حول القطاعات التي نريد أن نعمل معها. ما هذه الشركات التي نريد أن نعمل معها؟ ما هي القطاعات التي نريد أن نتشارك معها؟ بهذه الطريقة نريد أن نضمن نوع الأعمال التي نقوم بها، وهذا يعتمد على التركيز على قطاعات معينة. كلما كان التركيز على قطاعات معينة كلما كان الاستغلال لهذه المناطق التنموية أفضل وجاذبا للاستثمارات بصورة أفضل. فنحن نحاول أن نزيد من الأشخاص والمستثمرين داخل المنطقة التنموية. عندما تكون هذه المنطقة واضحا لديها من نحن نستهدف، ما هي القطاعات المستهدفة والشركات المستخدمة، وأن يكون هنالك طرق واضحة للوصول للمستثمرين وطرق واضحة للوصول للشركات. هل نحن مثلا نريد أن نعمل مع شركات المعلومات أو التكنولوجيا، أو نحن نريد أن نعمل مع شركات الأدوية؟ إذا نريد أن نكون محددين، ونريد لأننا نعرف أن الموارد الموجودة دائما محددة، نريد أن نستغل. إذا كلما كنا محددين أكثر وكلما علمنا مع من نريد أن نعمل أكثر، هذا سيعود علينا بالنفع. هذه ليست الاستراتيجية الوحيدة التي ستمكن من نجاح المنطقة التنموية، ولكن أيضا ما هي البنية التحتية التي نوفرها للمستثمرين. فمثلا عندنا سلاسل الإنتاج، ما هي البنية التحتية التي تقدمها البنية التحتية حتى تكون جاذبة للاستثمارات؟ لأننا نريد أن ننافس وأن نقدم بيئة جاذبة تناسب الشركة أو المستثمر وتمكن هذه الشركة أن تنمو ضمن المناطق التنموية الموجودة لديه. أيضا هل لدي موظفين موجودين؟ ما نوع الدعم الذي أنا سأقدمه للمستثمر لأشجعه على العمل في هذه المناطق الصناعية أو التنموية؟ وما هي الخدمات التي سأقدمها؟ إذن حأتحدث عن البنية التحتية الحسية وغير الحسية. ما هي الخدمات التي يمكن أن أقدمها حتى أخلق جوا جاذبا للمستثمر؟ وأيضا ما هي العقبات التي تخلينا عنها أو تخطيناها أو سنساعد المستثمر أن يتخطاها في عملية التسجيل وعملية التوظيف؟ كل هذه الأمور مهمة. إلى جانب هذا، الشركات الموجودة في المناطق التنموية وعملها مع بعضها البعض سيساعد على نمو المنطقة التنموية، يعتمد على وجود الشركات بداخلها. نحن لا نريد فقط أن نركز على أن نجذب شركات جديدة، نريد أن نساعد الشركات الموجودة أصلا في المنطقة التنموية على أن تنمو، لأن هذه الشركات عندما تنمو وستصبح لها قيمة مضافة وتساعد شركات أخرى على القدوم والاستثمار في المنطقة التنموية. إذا نريد أن نقدم ما هي خدمات المتابعة، خدمات المتابعة وحل المشكلات التي يمكن نقدمها للشركات الموجودة في المنطقة التنموية والمنطقة الصناعية. وهذا بحد ذاته سوف يجذب مزيدا من الاستثمارات ويخلق مزيدا من فرص العمل ويوسع من عمل المنطقة التنموية. إذا كل هذه عوامل نجاح، وفيما يتعلق باستغلال المنطقة نفسها واستغلال العوائد. نحن نتحدث فقط عن الأرض، ما تعود عليه الأرض، نتحدث عن الخدمات التي نقدمها، البنية التحتية، خدمات البنية التحتية التي نقدمها مثل المياه والغاز والكهرباء وغيرها من الخدمات الاختيارية مثل التكنولوجيا والإنترنت وغيرها. كلما كانت المنطقة الاقتصادية أو التنموية تقدم خدمات ذات إبداع أكثر أو ذات قدرة عالية، وليس فقط إيجار الأرض، عندها ستكون لديها قيمة تنافسية أكثر. شكرا لك، شكرا على هذه النصائح. أعتقد أن يمكن أن ننتقل الآن إلى دكتور لؤي سحويل. Your Excellency, Dr. Luai, you've heard what Ms. Zoe talked about, and she's giving us an international experience. Talking about the Jordan Industrial Estates Company, it's developing, it's always developing and always working. My question for you, what are the industries? She's been talking about the excellence and the innovative of industrial zones. What are the kind of industries you are focusing on to fight unemployment? And what are the percentages of foreign investments in those zones? If you can raise your voice, please. Attracting investments don't only depend on the exemptions of taxes, but we need to focus on providing incentives to investors. We look those quality industries, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, light industries. But how can we promote foreign investors to come to Jordan and work in those industrial zones, and so achieve our developmental goals, creating job opportunities for Jordanian people in different governorates, increase the added value, increase the exports. Currently, we focus on attracting direct foreign investments, which we try to focus on the e-commerce promotion, and increasing the added value for this investment and the profits of these investments. Currently, we have 17% of foreign investments, 16% of Arab investments, 41% of Arab and Jordanian investments, 16% of Jordanian investments. So if you look at these partnerships that we have around 59% investments with Arab, foreign, and Jordanian investments and partnerships. The foreign investor has many exemptions given. There has been, in 2020, there has been a growth to many industrial zones and companies because of the COVID-19. for example, in the pharmaceutical companies and engineering companies. Thank you, Your Excellency. We have very limited time, so going back to His Excellency Mr. Muhammad Ubaidat, 2 minutes, please, if you can tell us in brief what's in your mind and give us some advice for the future. Thank you, Dr. Khalid. I hope you can hear me well now. Talking about the tax exemptions and the customs exemptions, as well as other incentives given, the developmental opportunities depends on the demand and supply studies. I'm sorry, the voice is not clear. We can only achieve our developmental goal with the partnership with private sector and achieving revenues for companies. I think we need a new law for investment that is updated with the new technologies and new needs in the market. We also need a group of tax exemptions and reviewing the prices of energy and oil. We know that the developmental opportunities are in the IT sector, science research, education, pharmaceutical companies, services. This creates competitive advantage and the vision of His Majesty King Abdullah. I also want to mention that we need to update our services and our work with the investors, either in the partnerships or the business models that we provide, either with the public-private partnership or the free trade agreements or any updated agreements or models in order to create more job opportunities for our youth. Thank you, Your Excellency. Now I want to go to Dr. Luay Sahwail. Very quickly, what is the message that you want to send to investors? Our message to investors today is that we encourage them in the industrial investment. Thank you, Your Excellency. Moving now to His Excellency Mr. Salim Khazale for a final word you want to tell to investors. Investors in Jordan will find that there is a legislative environment, advanced environment that needs to be reviewed, and the government also will make structural and infrastructure reforms when it comes to investment in order to reform the legislations and have a long-term plan to help investors It is very clear that there is a strong will to reform and creating a more attractive environment to attract foreign investments and provide advanced legislative infrastructure. Thank you, Your Excellency. نعم، أعود إلى زوي. هل لديك أي نقاط تريد أن تنهي بها الحديث؟ شكرا جزيلا. أعتقد أن الأردن لديه موقع استراتيجي لخلق مناطق تنموية ناجحة، خاصة بوجود اتفاقات التجارة الحرة مع الولايات المتحدة والاتحاد الأوروبي. ما أود أن أقترحه هو أن أشجع تطوير المناطق التنموية ودعم الشركات الصغيرة والمتوسطة، وأن نضمن أن البنية التحتية موجودة. شكرا جزيلا. Honestly, so talking about the unlocking the potential in economic developmental zones, there is another session that will talk about this. We'd like to assert everyone that we have an attractive and strong environmental atmosphere, providing many exemptions and opportunities for investors. In any governorate or in any developmental zones. I would like to thank you, like to thank all the main speakers today, Ms. Zoe Harris, Senior FDI and Economic Zones Advisor, His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Ubaidat, former Vice Chairman of the Board Director, Mr. Salim Khazala, and Dr. Luay Sahwail, and myself, Dr. Khalid Moumani. We had very limited time and we need to start with the second session. So if you have any question, please write it down and we will come back to answer it today. Thank you all. Have a good day. صارت مخلصة. شكرا لمشاركتكم على اليوم الثاني لمؤتمر الاستثمار الثاني. بعد 5 دقائق سوف نستمر في الجلسة الثانية وسوف نتحدث عن تطوير المناطق التنموية والمناطق الصناعية والتي سيديرها دكتور علي مدادحة. ابقوا معنا، سوف نبدأ بعد دقائق.